Look guys, a fresh cut. Also, I got an adjustable desk. So this video is meant to be a celebration of sorts to me beating Keres and reaching top 1 in the Finnish stats review. I'm also just gonna say that this is definitely not just to put my opinions out there. It's meant to be more a video informative about me and my history with the game. So for those people who like see my stats viewer account and are like confused, oh, why is there like no videos on my channel? It's because I've been kind of irrational in the past. I've deleted old videos if I felt at some time I wanted to just like quit the game and try to not have the temptation to come back. But you know, it's GD, so you always come back. And for that same reason, I'm also gonna go through this in like a chronological order, and it might not be 100% accurate, but accurate enough. And also for the tiers themselves, I'm gonna name the S tier into 10 out of 10. The A tier is the 9 and 8 out of 10s. B tier is 6 to 7 out of 10s. C tier are just the 5 out of 10s. D tier 4 out of 10. E tier are the 3 to 2 out of 10s. And then F tier is just the 1 out of 10s. I don't rank anything 0 out of 10. And I've been playing this game very casually all the way back from 2014, but I only really started in like late 2017 when I got 144 hertz, and I beat like the classic 9 circles levels as my first actual hard levels. But in early 2018 I actually beat 8x20, which at the time was actually on the list, but back then I literally didn't know how to record videos, so it's kind of funny. Then in like late 2018 I tried to do Estelar Knows and I couldn't do it, after which I quit the game until early 2020 when I saw Nepesta on PewDiePie's channel. I was like, hey, that's a game I play, what the hell? And then in earlier 2020, I actually started to get good at the game. So the first level I beat was Estelar Knows, and I literally don't remember how I felt about this. I'm just gonna put it there. But the first actual Extreme Demon I did was Hypersonic, and it was a really laid-back experience. I really liked it. Why did I not include the 8 here? Then after noticing how easily I did Hypersonic, I went straight for Idols, which back then was on the list. And this level took me a fuck ton of time, and back then it was like my favorite level ever, but it definitely has like done the opposite of growing on me. What would you call that? I'm gonna put it here. And after Idols, I did Cyclone. I sucked at learning levels, I didn't know how to do it back then, so it was annoying as hell. But then it got really consistent and I actually really enjoyed it after that. Literally as a joke, I started to play Killbot. I was the original Killbot jumper. This level took me like 4 months to beat, and I actually beat it like a few days before Aeon did, before it became popular from that. And I of course loved it, it was awesome. It's not my favorite level ever. Then after Killbot, I tried to do Chromatic Haze. Back then was below it on the list, and I just could not do it for the life of me. So I figured I had to go back to easier extremes, so that's Cosmo Rush. There it is, ICDX. This all sucks, bro. Also, I got way unluckier on this level than I remember getting. Maybe that's why I hated it so much. Then after ICDX, of course, the classic Cataclysm. It sucked. It didn't suck that much though. I think that's a fine spot for it. Then after that was this goofy level called Electrosonic. It was neat, but there were a couple of things, including my luck, that really brought it down. It's also just a really jank level. Oh boy. This level, oh my. You know, I hate to break the news, but we already are not going to have anything that's going to top this at the bottom of the list. This is probably the only level I have genuinely fucking cried over. And it only took me like 5 days to beat. I don't even remember the specifics of it. It was just so bad. Then here comes the streak of the second hardest, Sukupen Hell. Yeah, going straight from my least favorite level to this day to another contender for least favorite level ever. It kinda sucked. Sukupen Hell was really hard back then. Then after Sukupen Hell, I did Speedrun. And you might think like, hey, that's a nice little deserved break from after all those shit levels. No, it wasn't great. Sure, it's consistent, but man, I was not used to dying that many times in the second half of a level. Next up is Fabrication, and this level was actually awesome. I even like it more than Killbot. Weirdly enough, Fabrication is the only time I've actually broken a peripheral over GD. It was just my L key on my old keyboard, and it was literally one time I even got remotely annoyed at the level. Allegiance. I tried to beat this level much earlier on, but it was really boring, and it was really boring coming back to it. Auditory Breaker. You know, I think this is like the most common placement for this level. Just very mediocre, very just below average, but not the worst thing ever. Sure, it's easier than like Sonic Wave, but it's so boring. It's so tedious. Now, Bowser Vortex. We got our first S tier, boys. I didn't even get remotely annoyed at any point at this level. It was just so consistently fair. Just so much fun. I didn't even mind my 98 death. I mean, honestly, I don't even know how to describe it. It was just that good. Then from one awesome Vortex level to another awesome Vortex level. Devil Vortex. Yeah, this level is awesome. I don't know, it was just so much fun. It was so consistent, and I thought even though it is unbalanced, it's just so fair. And yes, it was a new hardest. This all was like 65 on the list when I beat it. So yeah, after Bowser Vortex, the streak of new hardests begun. I just wanted to see how many new hardests I could beat before I would really start struggling with them. After that, I did Omega. It's S tier. It's just the perfect type of level for me. I went for it because it's a Learny XL level, and I thought I was good at those kind of levels, and it did not disappoint. It was exactly what I needed. Then after Omega, I did Gamma, and this level is easier than Omega. I actually back then liked it less than Omega, but it has grown on me a lot more. It's up there. It was also the start of my insane flukes. I fluked from 70, which may or may not have been the biggest fluke at the time. I also almost fluked Omega from 68, but I died at 95. Then I just beat a few easier extremes, starting with penultimate phase. Just no. Actually, it's here. I actually really like the designs in this level, but I really hate Penuto gameplay. Accu. Pretty good. Like right below Killbot. I don't know. It was like mildly annoying every now and then. It's not the perfect level, but I really like it. Layak, yeah, it's Insane Demon, but I'm including every level that has been extreme at some point. And this level was frustrating just because it was hard to learn, and it took me a while to get it down. I tried to just beat it as fast as I could. Retention is literally the exact same thing as I just described, but I liked it more, so it goes like there. And then Timor was great. For the most part, I tend to not remember exactly what made these levels so good. I usually just rank these by how little they annoyed me. Timor just never annoyed me. Sigma. It's not my favorite Greek letter, but it's still S tier. I also did this small, insignificant thing called fluking it from 58 as a hardest. Yeah, basically the same thing as Omega. Then we have Frozen Cave, which back then was above Sigma on the list, so it was technically a new hardest. It's F tier. In the case of Frozen Cave, it's literally as simple as I just absolutely despised the gameplay. Then right after Frozen Cave, I did Great Demon. And I feel like it's definitely, for the most part, because I fluked this shit from 61. But yeah, it goes up here. It's just one of those really simple levels with very fair gameplay. Molten Mercury. You know, everybody remembers this level. I mean, I like it as a level. It just really annoyed me. It really pissed me off. Prismatic Haze is one of those levels that I tried to beat ages ago, but it was too hard and too annoying for me back then. So I came back to it when I was a lot better, and it was a lot better. The middle tier. The most relevant level, Warning. It's a decent level, but sometimes just even decent levels just really piss you off for no reason. So, I don't know. Ferrum Frenzy. It's a finished level. Of course, it's not gonna go in a bad tier. Demonicat. This was like the most bipolar level ever. It was pretty awesome at times, but infuriating at other times. It's gonna put it there. Balenju Vortex. I would love to put this in F tier, but it's not quite that bad. This level literally felt like a time machine. Whenever I played it, time just slowed down. I got really unlucky with this, and it wasn't even consistent until like the very last day. It took me 11,000 attempts, and for reference, Sigma took me 11k attempts, and Bowser took me 6.9k attempts. Ah yes, Icaros, yay! This is also one of those levels I started out much earlier. I tried to race this with my pal Dan, and we both just dropped it because it sucked. And I just forced myself to come back to it. It was torture. Easy F tier. Delta interface. Man, what an exciting level. 5 out of 10. The antimatter. Anything but an ordinary level. The soul is extraordinary. 6 out of 10. I don't know. Cosmos 21. Now this level is extraordinary. There you go. Oh, here it is. Kappa. Back when I beat this, it was 17 on the list. Can you even imagine beating a top 17 these days? That would explain why at the time I didn't feel like this was quite my favorite level in the game. Towards the end it started getting a bit tedious, but I can't deny it. It is just my favorite level in the game, by far. It was the best, hardest. It has easily my favorite gameplay in the whole game. The silo levels, they're basically the same thing. I'm tempted to put them in F tier, but it took me like 2 hours collectively to beat both of these levels. They have what I would call decorators gameplay, where they just have absolutely no idea what they're doing. It's just the most jank gameplay ever. And after those, I couldn't really beat anything for a while. So after a bit of a break, I came back and beat Fexty. Might be the fact that I had literally 24 total attempts from 0 on this, but it's pretty decent. Destruction of God. What a Chad level. Nivalis. This level is hard. Like, I beat Erebus S right after it, and Erebus was on the list back then. This was a lot harder than that. It was still great. Borderline A tier, but it's going there. And yeah, Erebus is fucking awful. It's fucking horrifying. Concave Memories, same thing as Molten Mercury. I really wanted to like this level, but man, it was the most infuriating thing ever. I still like it as a level, but it annoyed me so unreasonably much. Molten Gear. I fluked this from 63, which might be like my biggest fluke ever. And I think the only reason it's going this low is because I beat it before I could get used to playing it from 0. Then Awakening Auras and Bloodbath. I beat these in the same day. I was expecting Bloodbath to go a lot lower, but it wasn't that bad when I beat it. And Awakening Auras. I don't remember much about it, so it's just going there. Ouroboros. This level could have been S tier, but I think Chase's part particularly ruined it for me. I died there a lot more than I should have. I did fluke it from 73, so you know. Digital Descent in the same way as Kappa, I didn't think at the time it would go quite this high, but it has really grown on me. It's my second favorite gameplay in the whole game. Also, the little fact of me having only 4 deaths past Devon might have something to do. Base Cave. This is when my up arrow arc starts. It was literally the first day of me playing with up arrow. I fluked this shit from 35. But it wasn't really a fluke from 35, because I played this about a year back and I got really unlucky with it, and it was just too bad, so I had to drop it. It wasn't that bad coming back to it, so probably gonna go at like top of this tier. Crystal is just decent. You know, it's one of those levels that are just like boring, homogeneous, click sync timings. But I mean, it's well made. It looks pretty. It's just kind of fun. Lucid Nightmares. I probably should put it in this tier, but man, I have a bit of a bias towards this level because I really like this level so much. Like, the pre-drop is not that bad. Like, I do not understand how people can complain about this pre-drop, but not the Rust pre-drop. Like, what is wrong with you? Now, Turbinox, I went into this level thinking it was going to be one of my favorites, but it just randomly started becoming torture to play. Like here. Goner. I mean, that's a pretty cool level. I mean, I don't know what to say about it really. Spectrum Rave. I have a bit of a positive bias towards this level. It was a very frustrating level, and the pre-drop is very long, but I really like the decoration, the overall vibe of the level. Eternal Moment. That's vociferous. Now, funny thing, I initially wanted to jump to this from Killbot, back when this was like top 30, because I was able to do some of the parts faster than I thought I was gonna. Couldn't really pull it through. So from those days, this is technically the most amount of attempts I've spent on a level until a recent level that I'm gonna get to at the end. If I didn't fluke this, I really would have quickly started hating it just like Terminux. Like, I really just felt it. Probably gonna go like here. Artificial Ascent. Same thing with Digital. I only had 4 total deaths past Anthrax. Just so much fun. I don't even know what to say about it really. The level that probably a lot of people know me from. I of course started out liking this level. At least at the time it was definitely my unluckiest experience ever. Just everything in this level is inconsistent, but the duels, oh my god, the duels are the most jank, unfair, and inconsistent gameplay ever. It was the most hopeless feeling ever. And then, of course, the 99 death. Haha, hoo hoo hee hee, goofy, funny. Honestly, it was the best thing that happened to me before I beat this level, and I beat it the next day. Only after doing 7 to 100, of course. But yeah, it's probably gonna go here. Omega interface. I just picked this thumbnail because it's funny that it says Omega. What a deserved fluke. After Calamity. I fluked this from 58, but that's not even the crazy part. The crazy part is that I had 2 total deaths past 29, but even besides that, it's such a fun level. It is so satisfying. I can't reliably put it in S tier though because of my ridiculous fluke. Cognition. This is where I really started to feel the push of doing new hardest. Probably to this day, this is the most like, how did I do that level that I've done? Because I've looked up to this level so much. It was really frustrating. It's technically like fair and fun gameplay, and it did get consistent. I don't know, it's just really frustrating. It's in the similar way to Crystal. I think around this time I knocked out a few easy extremes on the way. So Penombre, I beat this in like 40 minutes. So like, I don't even know what to say about it really. Broken Signal, kind of frustrating, I guess, I don't know. And Aftermath, this level kind of sucks. I fluked it from 37 though. Vociferous, I fluked this from like 50. You know, it's a frustrating level, but I fluked it from 50. Arctic Lights. I tried to initially beat this right after Kappa. I couldn't really do it for some reason. I came back to it and I really had to force myself to beat this because it was incredibly fucking torturous. It wasn't the worst thing ever for like the entire time, so it's only going to this tier, but at times it was the worst thing ever. Mothmelons. I love the way this level looks, but fucking hell, it was one of the most annoying things I've ever done. I raced this level with my friends and everyone beat it before me. Virtual Collapse, everyone's favorite level. Everybody remembers this level. Yeah, woo. Libertas. This is why I decided to just fucking stop playing easy extremes. So I really wasn't beating these that much faster than actual list demons anymore. This level was just the most exhausting thing ever. Atomic Cannon. Basically the mix between Cognition and Maseretta. I think it falls into the same camp as Cognition. It was really frustrating because of how hard it is. Please move this shit up on the list. Oh yeah, I forgot Factory Realm X. I did beat this slightly earlier, but I just kind of forgot about this. I'm confused as to why, because holy fuck, this level is insufferable. Oh my god. I think this level single-handedly made me switch from mouse to up arrow because of grip issues. And I was just going to Spectrum Cyclone because I was gonna talk about my grip issues around playing this level, which reminded me of FRX. But this level took me a long time because I was having too many issues with my arm and shit. Also the pre-drop is really tedious. I love the decoration. I love most of the gameplay. It was brought down by so many things. And I beat Paroxysm coming back. I don't even know what to really feel about it because I just, for the most time, I just couldn't be bothered to play it because of my issues. And after Paroxysm, I decided to just try to force myself through my hand issues by trying to beat Verdant Landscape. Didn't exactly work out, did it? I am gonna finish it though at some point. This is where we enter the current me. Artificial Dream. It's okay. It's kind of frustrating, but I also fluked it from before the break part. Castling. Funny, goofy, haha level. It's decent, I don't know. Lotus Flower. Fuck, this level is so good. It's definitely brought down by the 40 cube. The 40 cube is definitely too choke point. It was frustrating. But the entire second half is like my favorite gameplay in the entire game. So I would love to put this level in potentially S tier, but I can't. It was such a breath of fresh air, and it gave me so much hope being able to actually beat a new hardest again. And yeah, then after that, I beat Cerstia difficult. I actually like the style of this level, but it's really frustrating. Erebus actually took me less attempts than Erebus S, and yeah, Erebus is pretty good. So I'm only now noticing I somehow forgot about Cybernetic Crescent, Firepower, and Omicron. I don't know how, because I literally have the list of levels in order to my right, but I beat Cybernetic shortly after AA, Irredeemable. I fluked it from 65, but I could honestly see this being my absolute least favorite extreme ever if I didn't fluke it. The first 30 is so tedious, Nazcub and Vipering are so fucking annoying, Samifying is the most broken and inconsistent shit for me, don't ask. I literally died to bugs in Devon's part. Omicron, I also beat this around the same time. Omicron is decent, I actually tried to beat this quite a long time back. For some reason I just couldn't, and I fluked it from 63 going back to it. And Firepower, I literally don't remember when I beat this. I remember it being okay. Jesse Pinkman, really flip-flop consistency. I got really unlucky, really badly structured wave gameplay. I'm really bad at 4 times. Also, please move this level up. It's literally harder than Lucid Nightmares, I don't even care. Thinking Space. This all sucks. Probably even more than Jesse Pinkman. Yeah, what was promised to me with Thinking Space was a lot of consistency, but no, it's a really... From 40 to 70 is such flip-flop consistency, and the first 40% being so slow and free made every single death ever in the level frustrating. That on top of my luck, it was so... The choke points, the ridiculous choke points were the least of my problems with Thinking Space. Now Promethean, you might think, isn't that the exact same thing? No. This level is so much better. Similar to Eternal Moment though, I did feel like if I got unlucky with this level, it would have really quickly turned into the absolute worst thing ever. But it's, for the most part, just really fair gameplay. It's really short, so, you know, it doesn't waste a lot of time, unlike this. And then Keres. I said in my video, I don't know if I should give this a number score, because it was more than any other level ruined by external factors. Probably put it just here. Actually, I'm gonna put it up here. Then Koa, I don't know, same thing with these, just, I don't know, frustrating. And that seems to be it. I don't think I need to move anything here. Fucking, I don't know, buy and stuff.